You are listening to The Squeeze on YouTube. I'm Anthony Pasquazi. This is Alec Rude. It's September 29th, 2019. So this will be our last September show. A lot of things happened. Alec, it's great to have you back.
Glad to be back.
I got the plane in the air. There wasn't a lot of turbulence. But when it was time to land, I did not land the plane well. I needed my co-pilot, so I'm happy that you're back.
Not going to lie, I did not listen to the end. And
Good.
I haven't yet.
Good. I think there were maybe 14 people listening at the end, which is
There's a lot of viewers.
Good amount of viewers, but it was it was a catastrophe. I did not land the plane well, but we're back. We're going to try it again. We already have a few surprises that I was hit with this morning. We had John-Luke Nahorski scheduled to come in at 10:30 to talk about their awesome game yesterday. Unfortunately, he is feeling well under the weather this morning, so he sent me an email. Hopefully he gets better soon. That's the important part. The Squeeze can wait, but he is excited to come on. So we're going to try and get him on next week, as well as Eli Szymanski, who hit the game-winning goal yesterday against Augsburg. We have no guests. We have no guests today. Okay. It is okay because Alec Rude and I are going to sit here and talk about sports, which is what we do best. We do have Claire and Teresa of the Cute Theory. Now, they're no longer of Claire and Teresa because they have an entity that is far outreaching the Squeeze at the moment, and that is called the Cute Theory. So they're going to come in and talk about that a little bit. They're also going to give us some sports takes, as we know that they are so great at giving. Something that they're not going to do is give us their NFL picks, and that's because the Squeeze is changing. The Squeeze is no longer going to be a 2-hour sports radio show. It's now going to be a 1-hour St. Mary's sports radio show that Alec and I will do here every Sunday from 11 to 12. We're going to focus in 100% pretty much about St. Mary's. Of course, if we sneak a few things in here or there, that'll be okay. But it will be primarily St. Mary's sports-based interviews with athletes, coaches. Hopefully we get the athletic director in here eventually. That's what the Squeeze is going to be starting next week from 11 to 12. It is going to be a St. Mary's sports show, and that is because we're growing. we're growing in both of the fields that we would like to get into. Alec can tell you a little bit about his scouting after I'm done here. But I have my own radio show on KWNO starting this Saturday, October 5th, from 1 to 3. It is a sports talk radio show. It's exactly what I want to do in life. So it is a very good experience for me. I'm very excited. There is an online stream, and I will be posting it on all of my social media accounts. So if you ever want to support me as I continue to grow in this industry, that would be great. It's also on 12:30 a.m. in Winona, Minnesota. And then Alec has some news as well.
I might join you a couple of
He will. I'm sure.
If I'm not broadcasting.
If there's no soccer, which is tough. There is a lot of soccer doubleheaders
and hockey.
There's a lot of things. So it'll be fun. It'll be me in there alone, which is daunting. No producer, no co-host. Occasionally, hopefully, Alec Rude is in there for sure.
Yeah. And then my gig, hockey, being a hockey scout for the NHL. It's been my dream. And luckily, my mom, one of her cousins, we know someone, and he works for the New Jersey Devils. And he emailed some guys, and I'm going to start scouting for some junior league hockey teams and then a college as well. I don't know if I should say it, but I'm just going to say a college as well. And that's what I want to do. So I might be gone some of the weekends, and I'll still be back Sundays from 11 to 12.
But 11 to 12.
Like you said, we're trying to get a lot of experiences. That's what we like to do.
That's what this is all about. It's my new catchphrase. You never have one job in sports. You got to do everything. One of my other jobs is working for HBC. So I work for 2 sports media companies in Winona, Minnesota. If I lived in no chance no chance that would happen. So, one of the opportunities we get here at St. Mary's, I operated a camera this weekend for the first time in my life.
What game was it? Cotter?
It was Cotter against Hayfield.
I saw you retweeted something. I'm like, why did he retweet this guy?
I know, right?
I heard they're bad.
They're terrible. They've had 4, maybe 5 games this year, and they've scored a total of. Cotter is they're bad. They're stuck in I overheard Dean Beck and Justin Barrientos talking about it on the broadcast. They're stuck in this weird place where they have 220 students. So if they lose about 50, they can drop down into the A division, but then they might lose their football program altogether. And if they co-op with Winona High, they'll be put into the largest division. So then Winona High will no longer, be in their advantageous position that they're in. So they're stuck in this weird middle ground in which they're playing schools that are much bigger than them. And you can tell they're not very large personally or personnelly. They have a small team in both ways, both numbers and size. So, we don't really talk that much about football, but I've been following it now for 2 weekends in a row, 2 weeks in a row. A lot more passing in this game. Hayfield and Cotter. It was a little bit more exciting than my game on Friday of last weekend. But yeah, operating a camera is a lot more difficult than you think it is.
Oh, for sure.
You kind of you're watching a game and you see them and they never make a mistake. They're always on what they need to do. It's never shaky. And that's really hard to do, especially with the cameras that we were operating. And I also got a chance to go into the truck, the ABC director's truck. Oh my goodness. I called my dad after the game. It was a 2-camera broadcast with 2 broadcasters, and that's it. And both of the cameras were up in a booth. They weren't even on the field. And I was stressed. The director, there's no way I could do that job. What he was doing was amazing. And it just made me think about an NBC program director operating 25 cameras, two play-by-play guys, 2 sideline reporters. I mean, mic'd up things, segments, instant replays. There's so much that goes into a football broadcast, and sitting down and watching football today, I think I'm going to notice a lot more of it.
During the X Games, I went in the TV truck for them, and there was different events going on at once. There was 10 people working in that TV truck, all doing different stuff. It's crazy.
It's remarkable. You do not think about when you're sitting down to watch a sporting event, just how much work goes into it. And it is high stress, it is high intensity, and it's really low payoff because the only time that you notice them is when they mess up. You're never like, oh wow, the director, he had a great game today.
One last thing about Cotter. What was the score at halftime?
Oh goodness. It was 0. They had 0 points.
A quick thing. I work at Lane Broadcasting too, doing board op stuff, and I was doing their game. It was 0-40 at half. I'm like, come on. And the girl behind me is doing the Winona High game. They're so good. They're 3rd in state. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Cotter.
They're bad.
40-0.
They're very bad. Dean Beckman has a son that goes to Cotter. He has a couple of kids, I think, that go to Cotter, but he doesn't play football. He plays baseball and hockey, I think, is what we were talking about, me and Dean.
Yeah. They go to Cotter or Winona High?
He goes to Cotter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he goes to Cotter. So Dean Beckman knows a lot about the school, a lot about the team. Obviously, he's the Winona color commentary guy. It's pretty. I love Dean Beckman's work. He's got a really just easy voice, and he knows so much about sports. Yeah. He's such a great guy.
It's a great voice.
So what happened yesterday was a really good thing for both of our soccer programs here at St. Mary's University. You weren't there because you were playing some tennis. How did that go?
Not bad. I played in the hardest division possible. There's 128 draws, and I played in the top one. I barely lost in the first one, which I should have won. And then doubles, Gabe and I won our first one and finished top 32 in the Midwest for doubles. So it was pretty good. And then it wasn't a good – we could have won a lot more, so I would say we didn't play our best, but it's 256 people.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I mean, here, for people who don't really know, I'm kind of one of those people. Tell us more about this tournament, because I do know that it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, so it's a regional for the whole Midwest. So there's like 30 teams that all do different stuff in it. And there's 2 draws of 128 people, both singles and doubles. And yeah, it's just 30 schools all trying to play against each other. Some crazy stuff.
A little on-air switching here as we are joined by the Cute Theory.
Yes.
Claire and Teresa. We talked a little bit earlier about how you are no longer Claire and Teresa. You have graduated into a different media name, and that is the Cute Theory. So I told them a little bit about it, saying that there are 500,000. So actually between us, we have about 500,030 monthly viewers. And
Awesome.
We're not going to go into no. They have nearly 500,000 people viewing their thing on Pinterest every single month. So tell us what it's about, how we can support you guys, where to find everything.
Well, we both just bullet journal.
Which is a form of planning. Like it's a planner.
And we started like posting the content on our Instagram and then just like put it on Pinterest. And accidentally we looked at it one day and it was doing really, really well.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, we like woke up and we were like, we're low key famous.
So now we like continue to put stuff out on Pinterest and Instagram, but we've been like working on it more. So yeah, if you want to follow us, we're the Cute Theory on Pinterest and Instagram. Yeah.
And so this is a dream of pretty much everybody where you just do what you're already doing. Like you were already bullet journaling
Yeah.
and then you just put it on the internet and people are like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you going to make money off of this? Because that's the real dream. Let's be real.
We're in a work in
Wow.
progress to like start a blog and like partner with people, and I have no business experience, but Teresa has like a little bit, so we're like just feeling out our way about how to do this.
We really have no idea. So it's a lot of research and people coming up with random ideas. We have a business manager. So shout out to Jack Pierzak. Thank you. He's been a great help. If you're at Smooth though, since it's a Smooth show, we have an ad in the Blue Angel program.
Yes.
So look out for that.
Look out for that. Make sure you go to Blue Angel. I have no idea when the days are.
It is November 8th and 9th.
November 8th and 9th. Look
I
out for
believe
Blue
so.
Angel and look out for the Cute Theory advertisement.
Yeah.
So I'd say you have the hard part down, and that's finding something that people enjoy.
Yeah.
Here on the
Yeah.
Squeeze, we're still struggling with it, but you guys have it. So, I mean, I wish you all the best of luck in
Thank
your
you.
business endeavors. I think that you
We
have
appreciate the support a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
At any time that you want to advertise the Squeeze to your 500,000 monthly viewers, that would be welcomed, as we
Will
just did
do.
here today for our 30 viewers. But now let's get down to what we really need to talk about with you guys. And this may be the last time this happens, which is unfortunate because you guys are OG Squeeze contributors.
Yes.
We're going to talk about this week in sports. So I know that you guys have been hard at work, not only bullet journaling, but also researching the ins and outs of pretty much every major sport this week.
Yes, we spent a lot of time doing that.
Okay.
Teresa and I know every rule.
Okay,
To all the games.
Okay, that's very good. I'm just going to leave it an open-ended question. Maybe Alec Root can
Perfect.
help ask you some questions as well.
Okay.
So what are we looking at for this Bears-Vikings game today?
Oh.
Okay, well, we're from Minnesota, so we obviously know a lot about the Vikings.
My family are avid Vikings fans.
But bears are a superior animal.
They are. Okay, guys, we talked about this. I wanted you to go in depth,
Okay.
player by player, matchup by matchup.
Oh.
How are the Bears going to kill the Vikings in a couple of hours?
I don't even think I can name a
Okay.
player on either team.
There was that one guy, Adrian Peterson, right? We were
I
talking
don't
about it
think he's a
yesterday.
player.
But he's not I know he's not a player anymore.
Yeah.
But I know he was a Vikings player.
So Adrian Peterson was a Vikings player. Alec, probably one of your favorite Vikings players.
I hated the guy.
He hated the guy, never mind. But he was a Redskin actually last weekend. I shouldn't say the name. He was a Washington football player last weekend, and he lost to the Bears. So Adrian Peterson still playing football. 3 touchdowns behind Walter Payton on the all-time touchdown scoring list. Yeah,
Wait,
touchdowns.
Teddy Bridgewater?
Teddy Bridgewater.
He's
is-
not-
Oh,
he's
look
not
at
on
you
the Vikings.
go!
He's on the Saints, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, he's on
Well,
the
he's
Saints.
not even like he's anymore.
But you're naming Vikings players, which is a good. I mean, it's a good start.
Former Vikings.
Former Vikings players. Could you name
Brett Favre's also a
I
former
was
Vikings.
also
the other
former
one I knew.
Packer? Can you name
Yes.
one former or present Bear?
I can imagine their logo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
And
navy
the-
blue and orange.
Yes, and then their uniforms when they play.
How about their quarterback? I say his name a lot.
Can you tell us what it starts with?
It starts with an M.
It got nothing.
Mitchell Trubisky. This is going absolutely nowhere.
I would not have guessed that.
I don't think I'm going to give you your weekly stipend for your research this week because you didn't do much. I mean, what have you just
No,
been? have
here's
you just-
why. We've been preparing to go to a Loons game all weekend.
Yes!
We're going to a sports
That's
game.
true. We are going to. This will be my first professional sports game I've ever gone to.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
You're 20 years old.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Actually, maybe I
almost.
shouldn't say that to everyone. I'm an avid sports fan, obviously.
Yeah, Teresa and I won
go to them
trivia.
all the time.
And so we won tickets.
I don't
to
know. Yes.
Who are they playing?
Oh, Los Angeles.
They're okay. They're playing the LA Galaxy.
And this is the last game of the regular season.
Yes, it's very important. If they win this game, then they have home base advantage.
Home
for the
field.
home field advantage for the playoffs.
For the playoffs, yeah.
There we go.
Okay, so they're in the playoffs, which is really cool. Alec, can you actually help? Do you know anything about the Minnesotans? Yeah, no, I don't know anything
They
either.
have a new stadium.
All I know is they have a new stadium. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I know Colin Sturr worked for them this summer, which was very exciting for him. I also know that they're very good. I mean, they're really good.
Second in the division.
So that's, I mean, fun
Wow.
stuff. Do you know what channel that soccer's on? I can lie to you and say that I'm going to watch it today, but I'm not. But I hope you two.
We will be watching
We
it.
will be watching
You will be.
it.
You'll be there, and you
Oh.
won't be watching the Bears Vikings game. How are you getting there?
We're going to school.
Okay, it's a
Taking
bus. Oh, that's
So-
really fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you to Claire and Teresa of the Cute Theory.
Yes. Can I say
Um,
one more random fact?
absolutely.
I don't know if we've ever said this on the squeeze. Claire and I met at a sports game.
Yes.
Oh, really?
We met
Yes.
at a minor league baseball game. That was the first place we met.
Yeah.
Where was this?
At CHS Field, the Saints.
Oh yeah.
That was the first place that we met.
So I feel like it really just rounds everything out quite well, which is how I want to say it.
How in the world did you two meet there? You were freshman year roommates.
Yeah. So before school started, they had like a
I
little
went
meet
to
and
that.
greet.
Oh, you did.
Alec was there too. And so Teresa and I were like, oh, we'll go if you're going so we can meet each other because we had our like roommate
Mhm.
assignments, but we wanted to meet each other before the year began.
And we did.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So how can we follow and
So on Instagram and Pinterest at the Cute Theory.
Yeah.
And
I think if you're looking for like the URL or whatever on Pinterest, there's like underscores, whatever in between the words. So it's like the _Q theory.
okay.
Yeah.
And this has kind of sounded like one big ad. I think on YouTube you have to be kind of transparent about your advertisements. This has not been an ad. I just
No.
really enjoy these two, and I
No.
really enjoy their work. I will also say Teresa has a Redbubble account with some cool things
Oh,
on there. You can
thank
also
you.
buy some Squeeze merchandise if you don't
Yes.
have any already, which you should. And I guess this is an ad because all the money goes, not all the money, but a portion of the money goes to the artist, which is
Yes.
Teresa Robleski.
Good job.
Teresa Robleski. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about this week in men's soccer. We would have had John Luke Nahorsky on, but no longer. So we're going to march on through, talk about an awesome win yesterday, a program-defining win, if you ask me. We'll be right back after the break. Thanks, Claire and Teresa.
of course.
Thank you.
We are back here on the squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi, Alec Rude. I'm Anthony Pasquazi.
Alec Rude.
Yeah, we've never practiced that, but that was kind of nice.
I was looking at my computer and then I saw your finger in the back.
Anthony Pasquazi, Alec Rude, Eli Szymanski. He had himself a game yesterday. That was against the Augsburg Augies. It was here in Winona, Minnesota. The St. Mary's University men's soccer team was in a streak-snapping mood Saturday after at Okremovich Field. The Cardinals needed to put in a little extra work to snap a 2-game losing streak, picking up their first MIAC conference win in dramatic fashion. But for Coach Corbin Bowers and the Cardinals, the 3 minutes of extra work was well worth the wait. Eli Szymanski scored the game-winning goal, 2:26 into overtime, lifting the Cardinals to a 4-3 win over Augsburg and putting an end to a 13-game losing streak against the Augies. That means back in 2005 was the last time that these St. Mary's Cardinals beat the Augsburg Augies. You know what happened in 2005?
No.
The release of the redubbed version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Why does that matter?
Why does that matter? I don't know why it matters. The only reason I know it is because for some reason I was watching it alone in my bedroom on Netflix yesterday and saw that it was 2005. So did you see the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the redub?
The what?
The redux, the redo,
Yeah.
the remake.
Yeah.
You saw it. Did you like it better than the original?
No.
You didn't.
No.
I don't think I did either.
Not at all.
I liked it better than the original.
Too animated.
It was way too animated. I liked it better than the original. The whole Charlie part of it was really good until we got to Johnny Depp. And the second that Johnny Depp was on the screen, I was done. So the first 10 minutes. Johnny Depp. He's Willy Wonka. You didn't know that? Johnny Depp is Willy Wonka in that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
No way.
He is. I know, it's hard to believe. Very off-putting movie. This has gone off track. Augsburg got on the board first on goal by Drew Collins in the 33rd minute, but the Cardinals had an answer as Jacob Clements netted his 4th of the season. Awesome freshman year for him so far. With less than 3 minutes remaining in the half to pull St. Mary's even 1-1 at the break. The Cardinals did not waste any time coming out of the break to take control, getting back-to-back goals from Josh Balseger and Armin Yasenik a minute apart early in the second half to give St. Mary's a 3-1 advantage. And at this point in the game, St. Mary's had dominated the Augies in pretty much every single category. And the entire game, it was in St. Mary's hands, an advantage they would maintain until the 82nd minute when the Augies took a page out of St. Mary's playbook, scoring twice in a 20-second span to make it a 3-3 contest, sending the game into overtime and setting up Szymanski's OT heroics. Jimmy Perreault, oh my goodness, certainly did his part in helping the Cardinals beat the Augies for the first time since a 2-0 win on October 15th, 2015, stopping a career-high 12 shots, several of the acrobatic variety. 12 saves is insane. 12 saves. He's played one MIAC game. That's good enough for 4, for 4th in the MIAC in saves. I mean, the kid did maybe one thing wrong where he kicked a ball. It was kind of awkward, actually. It was on the stream. He just kind of kicked the ball out of bounds. There was no pressure or anything. That was his one mistake. The 3 goals, I mean, when you're taking in 15 shots, you're going to give up a few of them. Yeah. He's only human. He's not a robot. But he was as close to robotic as you could possibly be. He had 12 saves. The SMU beats Augsburg 4-3. Augsburg, 22 shots, 15 shots on goal, 5 corners, 10 fouls. St. Mary's had 14 fouls, including a couple cards, I believe.
Red?
No reds. No, the men actually didn't have any cards. The women were the ones who got the cards, surprisingly enough. But very chippy game. Augsburg, we talked about it earlier. Last year, a couple of those players were real trash talky. And the coach is a very fiery guy. So Coach Corbin is not a fiery guy. So the comparison between him and really any coach is pretty stark because Corbin is so laid back. The Augsburg coach was very nice to me. And with the pronunciations of his players' names, his players have some tough names. But yeah, huge program defining win for this St. Mary's men's soccer team. They now sit in what? 6th place in the
I
conference.
know Augsburg's 0-3 in the conference. That's a
Augsburg's
down
0-3,
year.
but they've lost to St. Mary's, which is a good team, which is awesome to say. St. Mary's is a good team now. They lost to St. Thomas in a one goal game. And then I don't know where the third loss came from, if you can look that up. But this is what we talked about at the beginning of the season. We said St. Mary's they're here. They're here, and they have a really good shot at making the playoffs. I said that they were going to sneak in with that 6th seed if the playoffs, or if the season ended today, which it doesn't. We're 10% of the way through the season. But if it did end today, they'd be in position to qualify for the playoffs. Both of their games have been super close. They lost to Gustavus, who has a 4-1 goal against, and they're 2-0 in the conference. So they've been really good. Losing to a good opponent, beating a very good opponent in Augsburg. Things are looking up. They have a game against St. Olaf
That's huge.
on Tuesday, which they need to win. I think it's safe to say they will get that victory. I do remember the last year they lost to them in overtime.
Coach Helberg, the assistant coach on the women's team, his son's on that team.
Oh, really?
He starts, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
But yeah, last year they lost to St. Olaf in overtime, a game that they should have won, a game that kind of sent them in a spiral, and was a big part of why they didn't qualify for the playoffs last year. St. Olaf not going to make the playoffs, I think it's safe to assume. And then they face off against St. John's next Saturday. Now that is where they're going to need to put their big boy pants on, because if they can win that game, they've almost locked up a spot in the playoffs. If the chips fall as they do, or as they will, based off the standings. St. John's is 3-0. They've faced off against 2 inferior opponents, and then McAllister, who is a quality team that is most likely going to make the playoffs. So St. Mary's, they're physical. They're big, they're physical, and I thought maybe they only looked big and physical in out-of-conference play because, out-of-conference isn't nearly as good as the MIAC, but they looked big and physical against Augsburg. They looked big and physical against Gustavus. St. John's is going to be the big test. If we're sitting here next Sunday in our 1-hour show from 11 to 12, if we're sitting here next Sunday and talking about a tie or a win, I mean, we'll be absolutely over the moon.
Any points in soccer is huge, especially in this conference.
Yeah, for sure. So ties are very important, like you just said. Gustavus, man, they were 7-0, 5-0 in out of conference. They played bad teams. They have a 39-7 goal against differential. They've scored more goals than any other team. 39 goals. Next closest is 28, and that's Carleton. This is just honest ignorance. I don't know. Is Carleton a quality team this year?
I think they're okay. I think they're projected around St. Mary's level.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. They weren't rated top 5, I know, for preseason, but I think they're right around St. Mary's level.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Something huge about this game to me. I got to sit and do the public address announcing for both the men and women's game yesterday. Something huge for me was the difference between this year and last year against Augsburg. I don't remember for sure. How did this game against Augsburg go? Didn't they lose in overtime?
Last year?
Yeah, they lost in overtime. Josh Balsiger had a very late game goal.
I think it was just 2-1.
It was 2-1, no
It was
overtime.
an OT. Yep.
Yeah, it was an OT. So Josh Balsiger had a really late goal, I think after the 80th minute, to send him to OT, and then right away, practically, Augsburg put a ball in net and secured the victory. Opposite situation here this year. You felt the same way, though, because they had a 3-1 lead, and then that was very quickly taken away from them. What's the word?
The what?
I can't think of the word. What's the word? They were up 3-1. They lost a 2-goal advantage. This is a mental block. Alec Rude, help me out.
I don't know what you're trying
You got to
to say.
do something.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
You got to say something. You got to help me.
The what? I don't know what
Just
you're
say
trying to
something else.
I don't know what you're trying
Oh
to
my
say.
God, stop saying I don't know. They ended up winning 4-3, and this is terrible. Alec, this is where you're supposed to help me. This is
No.
why I need you here.
I kind of want to hear you think
When
about
my
what word
brain
this
finishes
is.
out. Well, then fill in for me. What's the word? Like game to game, the trend,
trend.
it's not the trend. There's a word for it.
Consistency.
Not consistency. It's when everything's going great for you and you have all of the momentum. No
That starts with them.
That's the word, momentum. That's the word I was looking for. St. Mary's had all the momentum, and then they absolutely lost it. They give up 2 goals in 20 seconds. The air was let out of the bag. There were 250 people in the stands. I've never seen so many people at Okremovich Field. And it felt like, okay, here we go again. We've seen this story before. Last year, this happened a lot where this team lost late game leads. They lost in overtime a lot. They lost a lot of one goal games. Different so far this year. Yeah, they lost to Gustavus, but Gustavus is one of the best teams in the conference. And now they pull away against Augsburg. It meant a lot for me. Also, Jacob Clements, Armin Yasenik, 2 freshmen who contributed in scoring goals. Josh Balsiger, a likely guy. He has just gotten so much
He got a yellow
better.
card yesterday.
He did get a yellow card. And then he almost got a red card right after he slid, missed the ball, hit a guy's ankle. The ref probably could have given him a yellow card and sent him home, but he didn't, which was good for the Cardinals. But Josh Balsiger, I mean, you can comment on it. You're his buddy. He has just put in so much work.
Played with Rochester FC this summer.
Played with Rochester. I didn't know that. That's awesome. And we were sitting with Donnie Nadeau and Colin Sturr yesterday and just saying how much better he has gotten every single year, incrementally just stepping up his game to a point now where every move he makes is so deliberate with the ball. There's no wasted movement. There's no wasted touch. Everything he does is calculated because he's just seeing the game so much slower than everybody else. He has the ability to do pretty much anything with almost the baseball, with the soccer ball, with the baseball. What was I even trying to say there? This is really going off the rails. Momentum is the word. I'm going to have it tattooed across my forehead for next Saturday to make sure that I understand that's the word that I was looking for.
I can't believe the shots are 15-6 on goal, man. That's crazy.
It was interesting because I think
Was Augsburg's goalie not good?
Augsburg, I mean, no, St. Mary's just took advantage of their chances, I think. And Joe, I said, game of his life. I wanted to have him come in today, but too late, so no guests. That's okay. We'll be after the break. What are we talking about? We're going to talk about this week in volleyball. A team that I've been kind of hard on. They maybe have silenced me a little bit, at least for this week. We'll see how they do. They went, 4-1 over the course of the week, 1-0 in conference, and they went down to Augustana and took care of business. So we'll be right back after the break to talk a little bit about the SMU volleyball team, and then have our Frankie Bacalar segment without Frankie Bacalar, talk some college football for the last time here on The Squeeze before making the change to 11 to 12. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to The Squeeze. Anthony Pasquazi, Alec Rude, St. Paul, Minnesota. The minute the St. Mary's University volleyball team took the court Wednesday evening, the determined Cardinals had their game face on, and McAllister never stood a chance. The Cardinals made quick work of the Scots. Always forget that McAllister is
It's
called
a
the
cool
Scots.
name.
I like it. In posting their first, at least they're not the Mackeys or something, their first Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference victory of the season, rolling to wins of 25-19, 25-21, and 25-15. Ooh, 25-15. En route to the 3-0 triumph at Leonard Center. Lexi Barth led a balanced offensive attack, hammering out 12 kills, while Dana Lynn Jostick added 7. Linnea Wallace finished with 6. Rachel Kettle and Aaron Lime each chipped in 5. Lillian Braun, the ever-so-talented Lillian Braun, accounted for 31 of the Cardinals' 36 assists, with DJ Babb and Kettle delivering 18 and 12 digs, respectively. Eliza King collected 9 kills, one more than Zoe Lowe, with Claire Lomans dishing out 25 assists, and Katrina Schoen collecting 14 digs for the Scots. The Cardinals 1-1 in the MIAC. Now what? 11-7. 11-7 overall. Take to the road this weekend, heading to Rock Island to take part in the Augustana Invitational, an invitational in which they took 2 of their 3 matches. They beat Coe College 3-1 and Augustana, the host school, 3-1 as well. They then lost to Wartburg College in straight sets. So here we go. You know more about this volleyball team than I. I have yet to make it to a game. I've watched a couple streams, but I've yet to make it to a game.
They're
So
fun, man.
what did this week tell you about this team?
Not much.
Okay.
McAllister's not that strong, and I don't think many of the teams they played were that strong. If they would have maybe beat Wartburg, yeah, but they have no more non-conference games left besides Northwestern. All the rest are all conference games, and they've only played 2, so they're 1-1. So I think this is basically the start of their actual season this week, playing St. Thomas and Bethel, probably top 4 teams in the MIAC conference. If they can win one of those, then I bet they can make the playoffs, but they play St. Thomas, Bethel, and St. Ben's all straight. St. Ben's projected to win the conference. So if they can get one out of those 3, I'd say that's an accomplishment. But they were projected to finish 7th out of 12th in the MIAC, with top 6 making the playoffs, and it was a big gap between 6 and 7. So if they can beat one of the top 6, then maybe they'll come away with a win. But losing to Hamlin earlier it's hard. That's gonna be hard for them.
So they have 9 MIAC games left. To make the playoffs, they probably have to win 5 of those 9 games, right?
Yeah.
So
maybe 4. I don't think 4.
I mean, because then if they go 4, they're 1-1, so they'd be 4-5. They'd be 5-6 on air math. That was pretty good. They'd be 5-6. I don't know if that's good enough to be 6th in the conference and make it to the playoffs.
I don't think it is either.
I think
Hamlin was
probably gotta
projected
go
10th in the preseason poll, so
6-5.
that and McAllister is projected last. So that Hamlin loss really hurts them. Bethel's projected to get 5th, St. Ben's 1st, St. Thomas 3rd. So it's gonna be a tough week.
So you're actually going to need to win 2 of these games, you think?
Probably.
You're going to need to win 2 of these games against 3 of the top 4 teams in
Top
the
5, yeah.
3 of the top 5 teams in the conference: St. Thomas, Bethel, and St. Ben's. 2 of those are at home. St. Thomas and Bethel, or St. Ben's, are both at home, and then they go to Bethel October 5th. That'll be this Saturday. That game's at 5 p.m. Arden Hills, Minnesota. You ever been to Bethel? You ever seen? Yeah.
All the time.
How are the facilities there? I would imagine pretty
Unbelievable.
good. Yeah.
Oh, they're so cool.
Who do you think has the best overall facilities in the conference?
I haven't seen St. Thomas really.
You haven't?
Not
Okay.
really.
I'd say
I've seen a little.
from what I've seen, which hasn't been very many, St. Olaf, man, their campus is gorgeous. They have a state-of-the-art field house. They have a rock climbing wall. It looks like an aircraft hangar.
That's
It's beautiful.
I was at Gustavus yesterday. That thing's huge.
Really?
That's like a D1
Yeah.
campus.
Oh, wait, you're right. I went
That
to
is
Gustavus.
ginormous.
Their basketball gym is super fun. Kind of color schemed weird. If I do remember, their color scheme is black and yellow, which I love. And their bleachers are like green and blue or
Ooh.
something like that. Gustavus.
I think it's black and yellow.
It is, at least not on the basketball court. Because I remember last year.
Basketball.
Yeah, it was weird. I'm like, black and yellow, you got to utilize those colors. Those colors are awesome.
They had their homecoming yesterday. They were playing Bethel in football, lost 35-33.
E.
It was crazy.
Eek.
Yeah.
Speaking of football, you want to talk about MIAC football right now? I'm down. I'm down to talk about MIAC football, something I know very little about.
I don't know too much about this yet. I haven't been paying attention. All I know is St. John's is 1.
St. John's is number 1. They've beaten
For
Carleton 56-10. They've beaten Gustavus 33-21.
Gustavus has been competing though.
They have
Normally
been.
it's Bethel, St. Thomas, St. Mary, not St. Thomas, St. John's, and Gustavus.
I will say Gustavus has maybe the best quarterback in the conference at the moment, although the St. John's quarterback did
He
break
is the best.
the all-time. Well,
He could play at Penn State. He went to Penn State originally. And
Did
then-
he?
Yeah, came back. He's
Okay.
Grew up around me.
Well, this year the Gustavus quarterback has been out-dueling him. He's throwing for more yards per game. He's scoring more touchdowns per game. So, I don't know what his age is. What is he?
I don't know who he is.
His name is Veldman.
Really?
Yeah, Veldman.
I'm not sure who it is. The St. John's quarterback, though, he's a senior, and
Erdman.
oh yeah, he's the real deal. I don't know where he's
Michael Veldman doesn't say his age, which is kind of dumb. Come on, Mayak, you got to get a better website than this. So he's thrown.
from. Junior.
He's a junior.
Becker,
So there you go.
Minnesota.
He's leading the conference in completions, interceptions, sacks, yards lost. So maybe all of those numbers came in that 50-19 win against Martin Luther. Martin Luther has a football team.
They're not good at anything.
They're not good in anything. Absolutely anything.
No, there was one thing that I thought they were maybe decent at.
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
Yeah, no, I guarantee you they're not. That's my biggest memory of freshman year was the men's basketball team absolutely thrashing Martin Luther in the first game of the season. And I was sitting there not knowing anything about St. Mary's sports, just being like, yeah, we got a team. This is pretty cool. And they then go on to lose every single game. And that I quickly learned that the UMAC is inferior and Martin Luther is the worst team in the UMAC. So
Maybe it's their baseball. Something's good. I know they're good at something.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Oh, never mind.
No, they're not good. So what are we thinking? Do we think St. Thomas is going to put it together one last time, win the conference, or no, really? You think St. John's
St. John's will breeze through.
and their Studley quarterback will?
I think they won the national championship.
You think they're going to win the national championship? How cool is it that we're in a conference? This may go back to our conversation. That we're in a conference with 3 of the top 10
Yeah, we don't have a football
teams.
We need to make one.
I think that if you were the quarterback and I was the starting
fourth string
running
in
back,
8th grade.
See?
7th grade.
I think if you put our athletic prowess together and you just give us an offensive line, and I'm the running back, you're the quarterback, I think we
I want to play center.
we could challenge. You could snap the ball to yourself. I think we might have to do that.
That's what I always think about. If my parents would have just trained me into being a kicker ever since I was a little
Oh my
kid,
goodness, yeah.
you could have just trained in, just kicked in college. Like I guarantee, no one practices kicking that much anymore in high school. It's not that much.
Really.
Minnesota, you don't. If that's over 40 yards, you're basically not kicking it for field goals. That's how it works, unless he's an absolute stud.
If I'm going back, yes, and I asked my parents to do one thing for me. They gave me a great
Being a
childhood.
college football D1 kicker,
Yeah.
you go on the field for a couple seconds.
Absolutely. There's no pain or there's no risk. There's no risk involved in being a college football kicker.
You might not even touch the field the whole time. You just sit there and chat with your buddies.
That's true. You're right.
And then if you make a field goal at the end, you look like a beauty. If you
Also,
don't,
men and women can do it. They could both do it. I saw a female kicker in the high school game a couple of weeks ago. She made 4 for 4 from PAT.
really?
Yeah, she was really good. Kate was her first name. I don't remember her last name. But yeah, so you can, there you go. You got to talk to your future wife when you have a kid.
I'm not getting married.
Male. I'm going to marry the game of hockey. That's what Alec Root is sitting here saying,
I
right?
already am married to it.
How's it going? How is the scouting going? What does one look for in scouting high school, college hockey? What do you look for?
So there's these 5. The New Jersey Devils guy taught me 5 things. I'm gonna try to remember them all. It's the 5 S's: speed, skill, skating, size, and spirit. Yeah, that's 5.
Spirit.
So passion for the game. He ranks them on a 1 to 5 level. If they need to be at least a 3.5 to 4 to have a shot at the NHL. And you rank them and you classify them and you look up. That's what he calls the 5 S's. So that's what you look for in everything.
So it's like the 5 tools in baseball.
Exactly. Hockey, I love scouting hockey though, because one guy goes off and the next guy comes on. You can see 2 guys on different lines and the game's just constant too. So you have no time to take breaks when you're scouting. You're constantly watching the game.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do. So It's a good gig, man. It's a fun gig. That's what I want to get into.
I will say, I wish there was something that I could sit down and watch as trivial as high school hockey that you do. The fact that you can honestly enjoy, like, it's amazing. It really is. I'm kind of jealous of it, that you can find joy in watching these kids that you don't know just play a sport that really has no consequence.
It's probably because I played high school hockey too.
Could be.
That's it. It was that. I'm better at tennis, but I liked hockey 10 times more than tennis, man. I loved it so much more. When you play in front of all those people at all the rinks, it's a different feeling.
Here's another question I have. And high school hockey in Illinois is, I don't know if it's different. It probably is.
It's a
But
lot different.
all of the kids on the high school hockey team were pretty bad. Like, they weren't good at hockey because all the good hockey players didn't play in high school. They played on club teams or they played, in a juniors team.
Mhm.
So is that different in Minnesota?
There's no club teams
Okay.
in Minnesota. You stay at your high school, and that's the thing too. Some of the best Minnesota players, they go and play for maybe Team USA or the junior leagues or Canada, and it's still super big. Just expect if those players still stayed in Minnesota, how much bigger it would even
Okay.
be with the bigger players. But there's only like 10 that leave every year, 10 to 20, and probably 5 are good.
Okay.
Like, that's a cool thing. They all stay in their hometown, and there's private schools that recruit just for hockey. St. Thomas, the college, they have a St. Thomas High School
Mm-hmm. Academy, yeah.
just guys.
Wow.
That hockey team is scary.
Yeah.
They were in my conference.
You think they could beat St. Mary's?
No. 5 years ago, yes,
Oh, really?
they were really good.
Okay.
They had 7, 8 D1 players on their team.
Yeah. So they could probably beat
They
St.
were pretty
Mary's.
good. They were pretty
They
good.
could probably beat every team in the MIAC.
They maybe not Augsburg, but back
Okay.
then, yeah, they were really good.
Yeah.
No, because St. Mary's, there's like 20, 21-year-olds on the team.
That's true.
22-year-olds.
It's kind of like my qualm with, the Alabama could beat the worst NFL team. It's kind of the same.
Like when I went to scouting, I watched the USA 17s team. They played a junior league team. They were all 21, 22-year-olds, and it was USA, the best kids at that age group in the whole country. They lost to the junior league team that maybe some of the guys would go play D1, not many. And these USA guys could all go to the NHL. But they're 4 years different, so size matters, dude.
Okay, well, this is a weird this is a weird segment that we're doing because I'm just asking you questions about hockey. But
You gotta
we're-
come scout with me.
it would be freaking dope. I'm gonna continue because I'm honestly learning some new things. So I went to a Chicago Steel game one time. They
They're
were
good.
playing the Sioux City
What do they call Musketeers?
something because I had a buddy
I think they're the Musketeers.
Bobby
Yeah, the
Nardella.
Musketeers.
who was playing on the Sioux City Musketeers. Now he plays for Notre Dame. So how does that work? Like what is the Chicago Steel? Where in the realm of hockey and the importance and like the many layered provisions and divisions that there are, where does that lie?
So there's 2 junior leagues, the USHL, which they're in, and the NAHL. Both are people that have just got out of the high school or are currently in high school that left and they're going to like a local high school. So it's like from 16 to 21-year-olds, and you play that to prep for college
Okay.
or try to get like when you go. Like I went to the NAHL showcase the other weekend, and that was like a bunch of scouts there just watching because you're trying to make an impression. A lot of the guys in the NAHL aren't committed yet, and they're just trying to get D1, lower D1, D3 scholarships. USHL, they're basically already committed, and they're just getting ready for college. So the USHL is a lot better than the NAHL,
Okay.
but not necessarily. There could be better players. It's
Okay.
kind of your choice.
Gotcha.
But those are the 2 junior leagues in Minnesota, the high ones. St. Mary's,
So just in Minnesota, there are 2 junior
Sorry,
leagues?
United
Okay,
States.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
but St. Mary's, they'll be lucky if they get even a couple players from the NAHL.
Okay.
And now their new coach, he used to be an NHL coach.
Mm.
So that's why this new coach could be getting some better guys because he has ties with them.
Okay.
But St. Mary's would never get a guy from the USHL, probably.
Never.
Probably never.
So then where does St. Mary's recruit? Where do they get their guys?
There's lower junior leagues called the
Okay.
NA3HL and some other little
Okay.
leagues that they like. Tommy Stang, one of our best players, he wasn't even in the NHL.
So just to put it in my small brain, and my small brain works in baseball thought, how would you grade the juniors in terms of like majors, AAA, AA, single A? Like how would you rate the
Well, it's
junior
hard
leagues?
because they're not even in college yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why it's hard because these guys are still in high school. They're still
Okay.
high school kids in this thing.
That's crazy to me.
Because
Why is this a thing?
Professional hockey still has AHL is a minor league and ECHL. They're 2 minor leagues. So they still have those two.
My goodness. So why? I've always
That's
questioned
why
this.
I hate the junior leagues. I hate them so much.
It doesn't make sense
I
to
understand
me.
people from like Chicago that might not have the opportunities.
Yeah.
But as a Minnesota fan, it's so hard to watch them leave for this stuff. Why can't you just stay at your high school? But I understand it. Like,
So how come? Why is this a thing where you come here to St. Mary's and you're a 18-year-old pimply-faced freshman, and you're in the same exact grade in class as a 21-year-old, clean-cut, suave with a great beard and awesome hair, just great-looking guy? Because he's a grown man. Like, why do we have grown men playing hockey as freshmen? What is the point? Like, why does hockey have to be different? Why do they?
that's a good question, man.
Like, when did this happen? Do you know?
I no, not to be honest, no. But it's just more time to prepare. I would say in the '90s, maybe this is when it got really big.
Wow.
'80s, maybe.
I mean, because
I'll
I'm
say
just,
'90s.
just try to think about it in any other term where we're all athletes at St. Mary. I mean, we're pretty much all athletes. Just imagine if we came and we just kind of not wasted, because it was a great experience. And I'm sure they gained a lot of life experience and they had a lot of fun, but we just wasted 3 years of our athletic prime of to just go off on and play. I don't know. It's just the whole thing is so weird to me.
Hockey, there's only 60 D1 hockey teams, and
Okay.
there's no D2.
Okay.
So
this may be their last
playing
shot.
college hockey is a huge deal.
It is.
Huge.
Okay.
So that's kind of why they do this. And this junior league stuff makes a lot of money.
Okay.
Like, people love to watch it.
Awesome.
And I think they love hockey so much. Why not do it a couple more years and give it a last try?
Okay.
So
Well, that was a great conversation. We all collectively may have learned more in that last 10 minutes of talking than we have in the last season of the Squeeze. So I thank you, Alec, for
Tim Ruin, the junior expansion started around the year 2000.
There you go.
That guy would tell you a lot more than I do.
Okay, well, maybe we should have him on. Maybe.
Tim come down? I don't know when that guy would be down here.
Hey, you never know. He could.
Tennis match.
But so we'll be back after the break. We'll talk about college football, something I know a little bit more about. Not nearly the expert that Alec is in junior hockey, but we could talk about it. Notre Dame had a nice day. That was pretty fun. And after that, we'll talk about the Cubs and the Twins and my disappointment and your absolute jovial attitude going into the playoffs. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to The Squeeze. You're listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi and Alec Rude. I'm Anthony Pasquazi. That's Alec Rude. I'm just going to go through a rundown. It might get a little tedious, but I'm going to say all the results that happened over the course of this weekend in college football. Alec Rude is going to tell us what he thinks is important. Or what he was watching and what he noticed this weekend. He wasn't watching very much of it, probably because of the tennis match.
Come on.
Okay, he's always watching college
Kidding
football.
me?
Let's be real. Penn State 59-0 over Maryland. Arizona State in an upset of Cal 24-17. And now we're going to start at the bottom because I don't want to start at the top because I think the top is the most important game that meant the most to me. 25 Michigan State took down Indiana 40-31. Oof, that's an ugly game for Michigan State. Oklahoma State upset Kansas State 26-13. Texas A&M over Arkansas 31-27. UCF got back in the win column. So bummed that they lost last week 56-21. Michigan 52-0 over Rutgers. Hey, Michigan won a football game. What a concept. Utah 38-13 over Washington State. Washington 28-14 over a 21 ranked USC. Iowa, gosh, they look so good. I know they played Middle Tennessee, but they've looked good all
Next
year
week
long.
against Michigan.
It's going to be a fun game. They took down Middle Tennessee 48-3. Didn't even allow a touchdown. Notre Dame also looking very good this year.
They've lost.
To Georgia by 6 points. Notre Dame 35-20 over Virginia. They'll be back in the top, probably 7 at the end of this week, if you ask me. Florida 38-0 over Townsend. Wisconsin, not a very pretty win over an unranked Northwestern team. They're not good. They're 1-3. They're not good.
They aren't good.
They're not good. 24-15. Auburn 56-23 over Mississippi State. Oklahoma 55-16 over Texas Tech. Ohio State. I hate that they're so good, but they're so good.
They make the playoffs easily.
So, yeah, as long as they don't lose. 48-7 over Nebraska. Alabama, 59-31 over Ole Miss. And then the big one. Clemson is your team. They won 21-20 over North Carolina. North Carolina was at home, so it was a road game, but it is the ACC, which isn't a very good football conference. And North Carolina was one play away from beating Trevor Lawrence and the Clemson Tigers. How scared were you yesterday, and how scared are you following that game here today?
I was a little scared yesterday, but North Carolina, their coach is Mac Brown right now, the former Texas coach. I knew it. Clemson always has a game like this every year where it's a close ACC game and they barely pull it out every year. That's why going forward, I'm not scared one bit.
Okay.
Because this is a game they won't have another scare like this. They just won't the rest of the season. But you saw at the end of the game, Dabo Swinney was so pumped. Like, it's tough to go into North Carolina and win. North Carolina's not a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
They were my sleeper team in the ACC when I did my predictions. So I think that was fine.
Alma mater.
They're not going to be number one, though. They won't be.
You think Alabama would take it
Yes,
over?
For sure.
You think Ohio State will jump them or no?
No,
Okay.
not necessarily. I think Georgia could, for sure.
Okay. Well, what did Georgia do?
They had a bye.
had a bye?
Them and LSU had a bye.
Okay. Gotcha. So Clemson 21-20. Trevor Lawrence, probably his worst game as a Tiger.
He
you
hasn't
think?
been playing that good this year.
He doesn't. He has extreme punch me face, I've learned. You probably love him because he's your godsend. And I love the way he plays football, but I just want to punch him in the face.
His hair is so cool.
I don't like him. I don't like his look. I don't like his look, but he'll be in college football. Here's a good question. Kind of a macro question. Do you think Trevor Lawrence should play football next year?
Yes, and he will.
Are you biased because you're a Clemson fan, or do you think that's
No.
honestly the best thing for
That's
him?
the best thing for him.
Okay, so this is a what if. What if he breaks his leg in 3 places?
Injuries happen.
Okay.
Tough luck. You're representing your whole university. Dabo Swinney would lose respect for that man if he didn't.
I don't know, man.
He
Trevor
just went
Lawrence,
16 for 30 against North Carolina. If you want to sit out after that performance, that's cocky.
I guess you're right, but he will be hands down the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, but the way he's played this year, which has not been good, he went 18 for 30. The way he's been playing it, it's not like he's the god. He's not like he hasn't been playing that good this year.
Yeah, he hasn't been the god that we thought he was going to be. Tua has been freaking.
Justin Fields from Ohio State, that guy,
Yeah.
he could win the Heisman.
Really?
I-
Even with Tua throwing 400 yards every
Another one of my
Okay.
predictions, if I would have finished my blog, what I wrote, my 3 Heisman predictions were Fields, Hurts, and Trevor Lawrence.
And Tua wasn't even in there.
No, not Hurts. 2 instead.
Okay,
Hurts, my
okay,
bad,
okay.
not Hurts. Hurts is good though.
Yeah.
That guy's scary good.
Jalen Hurts, he is scary good. I will never get over that commercial of him squatting what looks like 3,000 pounds because he is a skinny dude. I mean, he looks like he's just skin and bone.
Yeah.
And he is just so. Could you imagine trying to tackle somebody like that who's running full speed at you, who could probably pull a truck behind him? Just getting in front of that dude is a nightmare.
I think the most important game I took away, Penn State over Maryland. I think Penn State is a real threat. Maryland is not a bad football team.
They're putting
They're
together.
winning 59-0 against Maryland, who killed Syracuse, who's pretty good. On the road, 59-0. That is crazy.
And they escaped that Pitt game. You know, that was a close game. So they've proven that they can win a close
They're
game.
at Iowa in 2 weeks. That'll be a big one.
At Iowa, they're also going to have to play Ohio State sometime this week.
Yep,
This
they're
year,
at
right?
Ohio State this year.
So they're at Ohio State. Man, I hadn't even thought about that. If Penn State runs the table, they could make the playoff.
If they go undefeated, yeah. Even if they lose just Ohio State and then somehow
Wow.
get help, I think they could.
So they're both in the Big Ten East, which means that only one of them, Penn State or Ohio State, can make the play or can make the Big Ten championship. That's correct.
And probably the playoffs.
So in the West, who would it be? It would be either Wisconsin or Iowa.
Yeah. Wisconsin's good, man.
They
I
are
had-
good,
I
but
had them going 11-1 this year. Another
who
prediction.
would you have them losing to? Ohio State in the Big Ten?
And regular season. They play in the regular season.
They
too.
do.
They're at Ohio State this year. Ohio
Okay.
State's they have a
Ohio
tough
State
schedule,
has a
but
tough schedule.
they play at home a lot.
Wow. So if they make it through, you think they can end up with the 1 seed?
Ohio State?
Yeah.
Very much so.
Oh my gosh.
Ohio State plays Michigan State at home, Wisconsin at home, Penn State at home, and then just at Michigan, who's not that good. So it's gonna be interesting.
College football is so fun.
It's crazy.
There's nothing better. There's nothing better than sitting down on a Saturday and just
And Alabama, they were in the first quarter. Ole Miss was hanging in there with them, and they scored a lot of points. So Alabama, I cannot wait till that LSU game, dude. I think LSU's gonna maybe beat them.
So is Josh Fields having the issue of Justin Fields? Is he having the issue of being sat down in the second half too much? Because he's only thrown for 234 yards against Florida
Yeah.
A&U. That's been his
That's
best.
I don't watch their games unless they're good games.
That must be
None
it.
of them have been good games.
I mean, look, 45-21, 42-0, 51-10, 76-5, and now 48-7. Yes, they're not playing great opponents, but we all know how I feel about this. If you're beating anybody who is in Division I football by that much, I think that it's definitely making a statement. 42-0, 42-0. 76-5. I don't care if it's Miami of Ohio, scoring 76 points in a 60-minute football
Defense
game.
is good, really good.
Oh, so they got what? Michigan State, Northwestern, Wisconsin, Maryland, who you said's good, Rutgers, Penn State, Michigan. That is
4 ranked teams.
my gosh. What is this November 23rd? That's Thanksgiving weekend?
I think so.
I think so. My family has Thanksgiving on Saturdays.
Really?
Oh, wait, are we? This is a question that I now have for my parents when I get off the air.
Maybe they
My
can
mom,
comment.
my mom was a bartender at a bar that I actually work at. She was there for 20 years. She worked 1 day a week, every Thursday night. So we would host Thanksgiving on Thursday, and then my mom would have to skedaddle on out of there and go to work. So eventually it was too stressful and annoying, and she didn't get to enjoy herself. So we decided to have Thanksgiving on Saturdays instead, which meant that, on Thursdays, my family would just kind of chill and have fun and not really do much, or maybe we'd go to a friend's Thanksgiving. It was really a good time. And we get the added benefit of watching college football on Thanksgiving instead of just 2 NFL games that aren't always great. So we always get these great games. Like, remember the Auburn field goal touchdown against Alabama? That was Thanksgiving weekend, and we watched it at Thanksgiving at my grandma's house. It was the
That's
coolest
crazy.
thing ever. I had, for some reason, decided to be the basketball manager my freshman year of high school for like 3 games, and then realized I didn't want to do it. And that was one of them. I missed dinner. I missed Thanksgiving dinner because I was at this stupid basketball tournament and at Riverside Brookfield. And I came home, and as I'm walking in the door, pretty much, that madness is
I
going
watched
on.
that whole game. That game was so fun.
So fun, so awesome. But isn't that kind of a fun, quirky thing that we have Thanksgiving on Saturday?
That's cool.
I hope we keep it up. Although my mom retired over the summer, which was a really fun retirement party. I don't know. I got to ask that question. Are we still having Thanksgiving on Saturday? I kind of hope we are, because it's a fun little tradition that we've had. Is anyone saying it? Any of my parents who are watching in the chat, are they saying it? But yeah, so I think that's Ohio State, Penn State, and then who else? Who else will play that week? Probably Alabama, Auburn again, as always.
Yeah, Alabama LSU's the 9th. I know that.
Okay. College football. This is when it gets exciting. This turn from September to October as the leaves are turning red and orange. This is when college football, really gets going, really gets kicked into gear.
2:30 CBS games. Those are my favorites.
I am so huge on smells. It's kind of a weird, odd thing. That's why we have. Never mind. We don't have those in our dorm room. I can't say that. That's why we have so many scents in our dorm room, because I've such a sensitive nose, and scents just mean a lot to me. There's something about walking outside on an October Saturday, the smell of like the mildewy leaves that are on the ground mixed with like brisk autumn air and maybe like a campfire. That smell just screams college football. It screams, what else does it scream? It screams grade school soccer. That's the other thing that I always have, because we'd go from playing grade school soccer on a Saturday or Sunday to going home and watching football, and you'd be outside for 3 hours, and you'd get that weird, like, I don't know, itchy feeling on your skin because you were in the brisk air for a couple hours, and then you get home, warm up with some hot chocolate, watch some football. Oh, I just love it so much. This is my favorite time of year, hands down.
It's a fun time.
Right?
High school hockey time in March.
Okay.
You can't beat that.
And March Madness. That's pretty fun too.
Yes, it is.
Man, we've been doing a good job today of getting very off of what we want to talk about, which is really actually a good thing. I guess when we have no guests and there's no like stress of trying to fit things in, it's kind of easy. We're just sitting back and talking about stuff. So Frankie Baccalars was in lacrosse for Oktoberfest, which is why he's not here. So he gets an F. He gets an F for this week. I'll be very happy to tell him that. He did not contribute anything to the show. So thanks a lot, Frankie Baccalars. Hopefully you're back next week. That'll actually be the one part of the show in which we don't talk about St. Mary's sports. We'll be having him in at 11:50 to finish out the show with us every week, just because he is doing this for a grade for his own class, mass communications, with Dean Beckman. Look at that. Everything just...
revolves around Dean.
Everything revolves around Dean. So he will be in, and that'll be the only time we aren't talking about St. Mary's sports. Coming up after the break, we are going to finally talk about the Cubs. I have some things to say about the Cubs, and I'm sure you have some things to say about the Twins. So that was a great teaser. We have some things to say. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to The Squeeze. You are listening to The Squeeze. Anthony Pasquazi, Alec Rude. We're two juniors here at St. Mary's University. I felt like we should just wait for it. What we do is a sports talk radio show. It's been going on for 2 years. It's called The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi, Alec Rude. We have t-shirts that are kind of out of style now. We were on the radio. We were on KSMR for 2 years, and then St. Mary's decided to squash the radio station, which has actually been a good thing for the both of us because I think we've expanded our horizons and opened ourselves up to new opportunities. So thank you, St. Mary's, for not supporting the Squeeze. But thank you to all of you who have been weekly listeners, weekly contributors. All the teams here at St. Mary's have been very supportive of the Squeeze, and I hope they will continue to be as we cover them for the remainder of our time here at St. Mary's. So there you go. There's a whiteboard of the Squeeze. That was a nice little snippet. That was me delaying this conversation that I'm about to have with you, because I don't want to have this conversation because it makes me sad. You love high school hockey more than anything else. I love the Chicago Cubs more than anything else. This has been the glory, the golden age of Chicago Cubs baseball these last, 5 years? These last 5 seasons? 2015 was awesome. 2015 came out of nowhere. 2015 was the year that Joe Maddon, the greatest free agent manager since sliced bread, was the Chicago Cubs manager. Since then, Joe Maddon has been the second winningest coach since 2015, only behind AJ Hinch of the Houston Astros. He's been the most winningest National League head coach. And by head coach, I of course mean manager. I apologize. But throughout his time, even in 2016, when the Cubs won the World Series, I was at home watching it with my pops. Never called him my pops before. Pops, it's an old man kind of thing.
Mhm.
You know, maybe when he turns 50, I can start calling him pops. We were angry at Joe Maddon because of his misuse of Aroldis Chapman and his misuse of John Lester. Kyle Hendricks was in the 4th inning, 3 1/3 he made it through. In Game 7 of the World Series, he was rolling. And Joe Maddon pulls him, puts in John Lester, immediately gives up 2 runs and the lead. He puts in Aroldis Chapman for the 20,000th game in a row and lets him go out there for 9 batters, and he gives up the 2-run home run to Rajai Davis. That's another missed opportunity, a misuse of his assets, Joe Maddon. So even in 2016, we were angry with Joe Maddon. Since then, we've harbored nothing but negative views of Joe Maddon. And by we, I of course mean me as well. My dad, my friends, Cubs Twitter. It hasn't been unanimous, the hatred for Joe Maddon. It definitely hasn't. But it feels 70-30 of against Joe Maddon to for Joe Maddon. And after the show today, I think the Cubs are going to make a mistake. And I think that they're not going to tender Joe Maddon a contract. I think they're going to let him walk. It's not a firing because he made his 5-year deal. It was a 5-year deal and it's through. And I think it's going to be a mistake. And this is a 180, a drastic 180. I am flipping from where I was before. Because the grass is not always greener on the other side. And although Joe Maddon has misused his assets and hasn't been a great in-game manager, what he has done is he helped these players that were great prospects that knew they were going to be successful in the majors. He brought that to fruition. And he helped them along in the process. And yeah, they've taken a little bit of a dip. But I'd argue that little bit of a dip is due to the oldest pitching staff for the Chicago Cubs since 1945. 1945 was the last year that the pitching staff was older on average than this one this year. 31 years old. That's not Joe Maddon. Joe Maddon didn't put a 31-year-old pitching staff together. That was Theo Epstein. And yes, the position players have gotten a little bit older, and they haven't necessarily gotten a little bit better. But I don't think that's Joe Maddon's fault. I think that's Theo Epstein's fault for trading away the wrong guys, for trading away guys like Gleyber Torres. Yes, it's all anointed because it was, absolved because they won the World Series. But you probably shouldn't have traded him away. Maybe you should have traded Addison Russell away, or maybe you should have traded Albert Almora away and let the Yankees figure out that these players weren't these players. Look at Jorge Soler. Jorge Soler may have batted 220 this year, but he had 40 home runs. I would have liked to see that in right field for the Chicago Cubs. And that was Theo Epstein's doing. And that got him Wade Davis. And that, Wade Davis didn't really do much for this team. So basically, in conclusion, here we go. I'm landing the plane. That was my problem last week because you weren't here. But now I can have you. You can kind of bounce off of me. I'm landing the plane. I think what the Cubs are about to do today will mark the end of the golden age of Chicago Cubs baseball. I hope it doesn't, obviously, because I would love to root for this team heading into the playoffs for the next umpteenth years. But I think we're all going to look at this day as a turning point, and it's not going to be for the better, and it's kind of scary. I don't know what the Cubs are going to do. David Ross is going to be really fun if he's a Cubs manager. I don't think it'll be the right decision, and there we go. Plane.
I don't know. Much
Plane has
about
been
the
landed.
Cubs. I couldn't really argue anything.
It was. I don't know if it wasn't a hot take. It wasn't fiery. It's just kind of sad. It's like you and a girlfriend just worked apart. There was no fight. No one cheated on anybody. You just kind of went your separate ways. And it's like, this kind of sucks. It kind of has to happen. I'm a little sad about it. It feels like that. It's not this crazy Joe Madden going out in a blaze of glory, or going out winning the World Series. Because I think a lot of people knew that even if they won the World Series this year, Joe Madden was out. It was written. It was written in stone at the beginning of this year that this was Joe Madden's last year. And I was gung-ho for it all season long. Looking back, my friends are going to be like, you were the biggest flipper in the world. Because I every time Joe Madden did something wrong, I pointed it out. But I think, I think it's going to be a bad decision. You ain't got
I
nothing.
couldn't say anything.
You ain't got
I
nothing.
don't know anything about the Cubs.
Well, I don't know much about the Minnesota Twins, but what I do know about the Minnesota Twins is they are about to make it to the playoffs for the first time in a while. They're about to make it to the division series for the first time in a really long while, but they are facing against their arch nemesis, and that is the New York Yankees. Before you say anything, I did a little bit of research on the Minnesota Twins, and yes, they are boppers. They are boppers. That is what they do. They hit a lot of home runs. They've hit more home runs than anybody in the history of baseball, correct?
Yeah.
What I didn't realize was those home runs have given them an average player OPS plus of 117. We talk about OPS plus all the time. It's very close to WRC plus. It compares your players to the average player corrected for ballpark over the course of a given season. 100 is baseline average player. They have one player who has qualified for at-bats, and that's Marwin Gonzalez. That's been their worst player. That's been their worst player at a 94 OPS plus. You know who had a 94 OPS plus this year? Anthony Rizzo. Like, Marvin Gonzalez played like Anthony Rizzo this year, and that's their worst player. Nelson Cruz, 166. Mitch Garver, 156. Miguel Sano, 137. Luis Arias, I don't know how to say his name. Arias, which he did just get hurt, so that's scary. 123. Max Kepler, 122. Jorge Polanco, 121. Eddie Rosario, 106. Jonathan Scope, 103. CJ Cron, 102. They have one player who was a below average player this year. That is insane. And yes, I'm rooting for the Astros because I have some biases there. If the Twins do what I think the Twins can do, I will not be mad.
It's going to be fun, man.
It is. It's going to be so fun. You guys are going to have finally, I will be surrounded by a Minnesota fan base that isn't bitter and sad and angry, because that's what you guys pretty much have been since I've known you, because of the Vikings troubles and, the Bears being good and the Cubs being good.
Minnesota sports troubles.
Yeah, for sure. Finally, you guys have a team that I think can go all the way. You described it as special earlier in the show. You described it as magical before the show even started. I mean, what has happened this year? Why are they so good?
Like you said, home runs, but the scary thing is the pitching. That's it. I hate to say it, but I think the Yankees will beat us in 4.
I don't know. Don't say that.
And if my parents are listening, I think I'm going to go to game 4. Sorry. I found cheap tickets. I might be coming up next Tuesday with some friends, but
didn't invite me, so whatever.
You're not a Minnesotan.
Whatever.
You can go if you want.
Didn't invite me. It's okay.
You got to skip school.
I'm just kidding. But I mean, one thing I will say I looked at the pitching as well. They got Tyler Duffy, Taylor Rogers, Trevor May. You know what you need in the playoffs? You know what you need in the playoffs? You need 3 starting pitchers and 3 relief arms. That's all you need in the playoffs. What do you have? You have 3 starting pitchers and you have 3 relief
I don't
arms.
think we have 3 starting pitchers.
Jake Odorizzi, Jose Barrios, sorry,
Name another one.
Michael Pineda.
No.
Dude, Michael Pineda has been your 10th best player this year.
Would he get? Isn't he out?
Is he?
Did he get caught with all the drugs?
Oh, wait, no. You're right.
Yeah, he's not playing.
Never mind. I don't know that much about the Minnesota Twins.
Suspended 60 games earlier this month.
I forgot about that, which is hilarious because he was the dude with the stuff behind his ear, right?
So stupid.
On the Yankees? Okay, never mind. I think you're right. I think the Yankees are going to win.
And Odorizzi against the Yankees. Come on,
What's wrong with Odorizzi against the Yankees?
you just weeds.
Okay. You sound like a bitter Twins fan is what you sound
I
like.
am. No, I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. I think they're good. I just the Yankees and I think they're for sure the 3rd best team. Like I think they're far better than the Rays and A's, but Houston and the Astros, or Houston and the Yankees. Come on.
Is Buxton still hurt?
Yeah, but they were talking he might come back, but I don't think there's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to come back.
Left shoulder. Timetable yet to be established for Arias, who bumped into the turtle Astudillo yesterday. That was funny. Or the tortoise.
I don't know who's going to be the 3rd pitcher. But I don't know if they would have Gibson, who I hate. I don't know, dude. It's going to be.
I hope to watch every game with you because I want to see what you're going through right now is 2015 for me. That's what you're going through because this team is exciting. And I think that they have a lot going for them. And I think that they're set up for success. I mean, most of these guys are pretty young. Nelson Cruz, arguably your best player, is not very young, but I think he's under contract next year as well.
Who?
Nelson Cruz.
I don't know.
I believe he is. Let me check that. Let me double check that.
The pitchers, it says locks for sure in the playoffs are Barrios, Odorizzi, and Smeltzer.
Schmelzer. Yeah, but you know who the Cubs' 3rd pitcher was?
Who?
I guess it was. Never mind. It was Kyle Hendricks. I was gonna hope it was John Lackey, but John Lackey pitched for the Chicago Cubs in the 2015 playoffs and in the 2016 playoffs. So if he could do it, anybody can.
They might.
So yes,
Gibson might not even make the playoff roster.
there is a team option for Nelson Cruz for next year. So that's your big boy. That's your big bopper who hit 40 home runs this year and had a 166 OPS plus. So I can't wait to watch and look at you through my prism of knowing exactly what you're going through because you've had nothing but sadness basically every time the Twins make the playoffs in the wild card game. So I'll be rooting for you. I won't be rooting against you. I had people rooting
Playing
against
the
me.
Yankees, you gotta root.
The Yankees are likable. Yankees are
What?
likable. I like the Yankees. What's wrong with the Yankees this year?
Screw the Yankees.
Who's a hateable guy in the Yankees?
Judge.
Aaron Judge is not hateable.
I hate Judge.
He's beautiful.
Stupid.
He's 6'8". He's got jacked up teeth. He's what every man wants to be.
Giancarlo.
He's also what every man wants to be. You ever see his ESPN
Gardner. If you
ESPN
like
body
Gardner,
issue?
I don't like
Never
you.
mind. You're right. John Boy Media.
Whenever
Have you
that guy put
have you
his
have
bats
you
in the dugout, I started to hate him. even
have you
more.
heard of John Boy Media on YouTube? Oh my goodness. He does these breakdowns, he calls them. They are absolutely hilarious. He does lip readings of players and stuff. And that one of Brett Gardner hitting the dugout is one of the best.
That's so stupid.
Okay, we're going to be right back. It is already 11:24. We have to talk about women's soccer just very quickly, and then we're going to talk and have another draft, which we haven't done in a while. We're going to do a Winona restaurant draft. So, we forgot to ask Claire and Teresa what their favorite restaurants in Winona were. That's a bummer.
Excellent.
Yeah, I could text them. They're probably in church because they're good Catholic girls. We'll be right back
Church.
on the.
I'm in a church in months.
Me neither. We don't have to talk about it. Okay, we'll be right back. Thanks for listening to the Squeeze. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi and Alec Rude on YouTube. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We're up to 65 subscribers. We've gained maybe 25 subscribers this year
great.
in a month. That's pretty huge. So
11 watching now?
thank you all for that. Yeah, 10 now, as you said. So thanks a lot.
What?
The camera is tilted, which is, I'm sure, annoying for those of you with.
Looks blurry.
A
on my
cute-
angle.
Is it blurry? It is blurry a little bit. I don't know what's going on.
Doesn't matter.
It's the voice. It's the voice. That's
Ryan
what we're
wants you
doing.
to know.
Now they're just dropping ever since you said anything. But we do have some things. Let's go Bears. We forgot to talk about the Bears. We're going to do that right away before we talk about anything else. Then Ryan Fleming, come on, Anth. Madden lost his team a while ago. Horrible fundamentals. Going to be good for Cubbies. Change is good. Go Bears. Change is good, but change isn't always good. I think that's a little. It's cliched, is what it is. It's just Yes, Joe Madden may have lost the locker room, but we're not in the locker room. I think that's the part of his job that he has done and he has succeeded with very well. I don't think he's necessarily lost the locker room. What he has lost is the feel for the on-field team. Maybe his message on the field is getting a little bit stale, but I think he's done a very good job of negotiating the shortcomings of this team. Ben Zobrist, I mean, how do you manage your starting utility guy? How do you manage him being out for a year with a divorce? How do you manage your starting second baseman being a despicable human being? I mean, how does that work? How do you manage your pitching staff absolutely falling apart because they're too old and everybody gets hurt? How do you manage any better than he did manage this year? That's my question. And I don't think anybody could. So that's why I think that they should re-sign him, because change isn't always good. And I don't think it would be good in this case. So thanks, Ryan Fleming, for listening. The Flan Man. Right? Yeah. Flan Man. No, Ryan Fleming. This is a different Ryan Fleming. I also know Ryan Flannery. He's the Flan Man. Ryan Fleming, my dad's friend. My bad. A lot going through my head. Bear down. Chicago Bears. I think they're going to win. Okay. Honest, before we talk about it in depth, honest prediction. What do you think is going to happen? Give me a score. Give me what do you think is going to happen?
Start of the year, I would say the Bears would win this one in Chicago, but I think they're brutal. I would say Vikings. Oh, let's see. 2010.
2010. And you're a Vikings fan. I'm a Bears fan. Like I said, before we go in depth into it, I think the Bears are going to pull it out. It's at home. I think they're going to pull it out 17-14. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think that the Bears are still going to keep their opponents under 15 points. They have yet to allow more than 15 points this season with the best defense in the league. Maybe the Patriots have been the best defense in the league. They have yet to allow a touchdown.
I picked them up in every one of my fantasy leagues, and that was the
they-
best thing ever.
They have yet to allow a touchdown, which is a little bit ridiculous. They also haven't played very quality opponents, but they're the NFL, so.
Hey, they play the 3-0 Bills today. Watch out.
They play the 3-0 Bills, and I think they have a shot, dude.
I don't.
Yes, I think they do. I really think they do.
No.
Okay,
I think the Bills are overrated.
we're not talking about the Bills. We're talking about the Bears and the Vikings. Why are the Vikings going to beat the Bears? Other than the fact that, the Bears have been brutal.
Because their offense is terrible.
Okay,
Not good.
okay.
Did you watch the Packers game?
I did. But did you watch how good they looked against the Redskins? No, you didn't, because you were at practice.
Define me the Redskins.
Yeah, no, I know, but okay,
Define me the Broncos. How many wins are combined between those two teams right now?
not a lot. Not a lot.
Not a lot.
I think 0.
Thank you. Who is the only 2 wins that the Bears have? Those
They've
two
only
teams.
played those 2 teams. The Vikings lost to the Packers as well. Don't forget about that.
We didn't score 3 points.
Oh, it was the first game. Okay, this is why the Bears are going to win.
Wasn't that in Chicago too?
It was. So this is why the Bears are going to win. One, if they lose, it's doomsday scenario. The Bears are not going to the playoffs because you lose 2 division games at home to start the season. You're not going anywhere. That's not very bold. So they need to win. So that's one of the things. I think they're going to be hungrier than the Vikings. This game is on national television. And do you know the only quarterback who's been worse on national television than Mitch Trubisky? You know the only one?
If you want to get your analytics,
The only
I
one.
don't care, but that's the stupidest.
The only one. Kirk Cousins.
That's a
Kirk
dumbest
Cousins
argument you
is
can
the
make.
only quarterback in the NFL who is worse than Mitchell Trubisky at this point in the season.
You should have lost to the Denver Broncos.
But we didn't.
Joe Flacco and the Denver Broncos, you barely got away.
But we
I
didn't.
thought time expired.
But we didn't.
You were 1 second away from losing to Joe Flacco.
Okay, the Bears match up in so many good ways against the Minnesota Vikings. The scary thing today is that Akeem Hicks is out. Akeem Hicks is a run stopper. and Dalvin Cook has been amazing. But Kirk Cousins finds a way to lose football games. This is going to be a close game. Both of us say it's going to be a close game. You say it's a 2-score game. I say it's a 1-score game. This is going to be a close game on the road for Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. He finds a way to lose games, and the Bears defense finds a way to win games. And that's why I think the Bears are going to come out with a victory here, because they're going to find a way. Khalil Mack is going to get to the quarterback, or he's going to get to Dalvin Cook, and he's going to punch the ball out. You know what's going to happen at least once. And if that happens late in the game, in a 1-score game, that could be enough for Mitch Trubisky to continue this trend of making the plays when he needs to make the plays. He's done it a couple times. He did it in the playoffs. He did it in Denver. He did it all day in Washington. He's proven that he's getting better. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a good quarterback, because he's not a good quarterback.
Top 5 fantasy.
I was a little high and mighty on my Mitchell Trubisky writing earlier in the season. I have drawn that back. He's not a good quarterback. He's by no means even an average quarterback. He has been a bad quarterback, but you know what he's done? He's made the plays when he's needed to make the plays. He's taken care of the football, which is something Kirk Cousins does not do. He has taken care of the football, and the Bears defense is better than any at taking the ball away.
NFC North. After this week, we have only one team with 2 losses.
They're
The loser of this game.
7-0-1 against non-NFC North opponents.
That's crazy.
It's amazing.
I bet we could have 2 teams in the playoffs.
How
if
long-
This keeps going.
How long does it keep up? Who do the Lions and Packers play?
Packers lost Thursday.
Oh, they did. So now we're 7-1-1.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Lions are not going to win today.
Who they play?
Chiefs
They play the Chiefs.
at
Is
home.
Is it at home? Okay, so there's a chance.
Lions at Packers next week. That's might be a huge game.
Okay.
And then the Vikes. So Lions have Chiefs, Packers, Vikings. That's probably the define their season right there.
So if you're listening for fantasy advice, which I don't know why you'd be listening to us, I'd say do not start a single quarterback in this game. Maybe start Dalvin Cook, but I wouldn't expect much out of him. I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't.
Yes.
No, because Kirk Cousins, if Kirk Cousins throws more than 15 passes
You
in a
still
game,
start Thielen.
you're going to lose. If he throws more than 15 passes in a game, you're going to lose. And if he has to be throwing to Thielen, the Minnesota Vikings are going to lose. So you think that's going to happen?
No, that doesn't make sense.
It does, because if the Bears have a lead, that's the only way that Kirk Cousins is going to throw the ball. If the Vikings are tied or have a lead, they're only going to run, because that's all they can do, because Kirk Cousins finds a way to lose football games. It makes sense.
It doesn't.
It makes a lot of sense.
Thielen had 20.6 points last week. Yeah, let's just not play.
Okay,
He's
but
played in. Did he not play week 1?
Taylor Gabriel had 39 points last week.
Thielen has at least 12.5 points every single week. Let's just sit him.
Taylor Gabriel had 39 points last week. I wouldn't start him this week.
What did he have week 1 and 2?
I don't know, but he had 39 last week.
I think he had like 0 week 2.
Well, you know what? Even if he had 0, he scored 40, which means he's averaging close to 12, which is what Adam Thielen is averaging. So it's the same thing.
That's not. It's not at all.
It is
That's
pretty much the
worst
same thing.
comparison ever.
That's how you can manipulate statistics. So I said what? Bears 17, Vikings 14. You said Vikings 20, Bears
You
10.
didn't say 17-14.
I said 17-14. I said
Yeah,
that
you
they'd
did.
win by a field goal and that they'd keep them under 15 points, because they still have yet to allow more than 15 points in a game this season. Thanks for listening. I know that's the one thing that neither of us are very good at, listening to the other speak, which is not very good. What else do we got on the Tim Rude? Neither team has a leader in the most important position. Stopping Dalvin Cook will determine the winner or loser. There you go. Maybe Tim Rude should be my co-host.
How?
He's much more logical than Alec Rude.
No, your points are just stupid. I don't feel like I have to argue.
What are you talking about? Which one of my points has been stupid?
Taylor Gabriel, week 1, 4.4.
That was a joke.
Week
It-
2, 3.5.
It was a joke. So, okay, so there you go. He scored 39 plus 7. He scored 46 points in 3 games. That means he's averaging well over 11 points, well over 12. He's averaging close to 13 to 14 points a game, which is more than Adam Thielen. Boom!
Stupid.
Mic drop.
Stupid.
I'm going to pick the mic up and drop it. That's not the argument that I'm talking about. I'm talking about in the football game. I don't care about fantasy. In the football game, what point that I made was stupid? Which one?
I don't know.
I'm telling you, the Bears are going to win this football game.
No,
It's going to be very fun. It's going to be very fun. 325, Tony Romo, Jim Nance. It's going to be a close game, nationally televised. And I think the Bears are going to win. You think the Vikings are going to win? That's how this goes.
2010.
2010, 17-14.
Maybe 19-10 because we'll probably miss an extra point.
The only team. Oh, that's the other thing.
Eddie Pinheiro, who I'm starting still, has a hurt knee as well. He dropped a plate on his leg.
Yeah, so
So that's scary for everybody involved. Bilal Nichols is hurt. Akeem Hicks is hurt. Eddie Pinheiro is hurt, but in. On the Vikings side, how many injuries?
I don't know who's all injured. I don't know if many are,
Okay.
to be honest.
Well,
I can't think of any.
it will be Delvin Cook that decides this football game. If you can keep him
Mike Hughes might play.
in the backfield, the Bears will win.
No.
Okay, well, let's move on. Winona Restaurant Draft. The Bears are going to win the Super Bowl. You can have the first pick just to soften your
I'm going to Winona Family in 20 minutes.
Okay, just to soften your pain from the loss that you're going to incur later today, I'm going to let you have the first pick. So
I didn't get much time to think about this.
you didn't think about it. I didn't really think about it either, but we're going. So give me your first pick in the first round of the Winona Restaurant Draft. There are quite a few, and we're going both chain and not chain restaurants in Winona because there aren't that many not chain restaurants in Winona. And we all know which one is the best McDonald's in Winona. I think I know which one it is.
Yes,
There are 3, believe it or not. No Dunkin' Donuts, no Chipotle, no Qdoba. There's a Taco John's. I've never personally been. I'm just stalling while he finished.
Winona Family.
Winona Family, thank you. Winona Family Restaurant. That's a quality first pick. You never get anything bad there. Everything you get is good. It's quality. The prices are average. They're a little on the expensive side, but they're. What's your favorite thing on the menu?
I don't know.
The cinnamon French toast. Oh, the cinnamon bun French toast. It's like a cinnamon bun cooked like French toast in the egg batter. Super good, really sweet. I might go after here and sit by myself because, again, no invite from the producer over here. It's fine. I don't care. The winner or the first pick in my first round will be Ocean Sushi, which I probably could have saved because you hate sushi. So I could have saved it for later in the draft. This might have been a reach a little bit because I knew you weren't going to pick it. Ocean Sushi. I've been to 25, maybe 30 sushi restaurants in Chicago in my life. That's a lot. I really like sushi. And I get the same thing at every sushi restaurant. It's the rainbow roll. It's a California roll with 4 different types of fish over the top. Ocean Sushi has maybe the 4th or 5th best rainbow roll that I've ever had. And I've been to a lot of sushi restaurants. My parents refused to go there for some reason. I mean, we all kind of know the reason. It's underlying. I'm not going to say it. But it's a quality restaurant. If you put it in downtown Chicago, I think it would do well. So I'm going to keep with Ocean Sushi.
Your dad said Winona Family is best by far.
Yeah, he loves it. And the other place that he loves is my next pick, and that is El Patron. Now, whoever picks Mangoes in this draft is going to be mistaken. I hope Mangoes goes undrafted in this draft because I think Mangoes is trash.
I like mango.
See, so you might pick it, but I think it's trash. El Patron is where it's at. Again, Chicago, one of the best cities for Mexican cuisine. El Patron would not rank anywhere on the list in Chicago, just being honest, but it's a good substitute for what you get in Chicago. Their steak tacos are great. Their guacamole El Ranchero is super fun. It's freshly cut. It's not mashed. So it's just kind of all the ingredients of guacamole kind of separate in a bowl. It's really good. It tastes really fresh. Their chips are freshly made. El Patron. Yeah, that's my pick. So who is your pick in the second round?
I'll go mangoes.
Mangoes. Thank you for picking mangoes. Why?
I like mangoes.
What is good about mangoes? No one's ever told me.
Chips?
Oh, chips, really. That's it. We took you, my dad and I took you to El Patron last year.
Yeah.
And I forgot what you got. What'd you get? A quesadilla?
I have no clue.
I think you got a quesadilla, if I do remember
It was
correctly.
good.
And it was good. I'm sure it was. I went to Mangoes one time. It was my freshman year. And I quickly realized the only thing good about Mangoes were the margaritas. And that's why everybody obsesses over Mangoes. I don't drink. I've never had a margarita. So Mangoes literally has nothing for me. They don't have steak on the menu. They only have beef. There are no steak tacos. There are no steak burritos, which is ridiculous. They only have beef. What I got really wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy it. But to each their own. Don't want to yuck your yum any more than I already have. Who's your next pick?
Zaza's.
Zaza's. I've never been.
You should.
I should.
On a Saturday night with football and stuff.
Yeah.
The
So
wings are unbelievable.
really? Okay, I didn't even thought about it. Like I'm sure they have good food.
They're almost up to B-dubs.
Really?
They're so
Okay, I'm not a big fan of B-dubs. Does Zaza's, do they have the dipped wings, or do you dip your wings on your own?
What do you mean?
Like, are they coated? Are they coated?
Yeah.
Okay, they are coated. Sometimes I don't
Heavily.
see. So maybe I wouldn't like it. And how about the pizza? Because I'm really particular on my pizza. Is it
I haven't
super
had it.
thin? You haven't? Okay.
I've only been like 4 times.
Okay, but the wings are good, and most people like it. So I think we're gonna go 2 more picks for me and 1 more pick for you. So we're gonna go 4 rounds. I have to go with the place that I go more than any other. If my parents are ever checking my debit card thing on the bank account, you see this restaurant on there a lot because I go there pretty much every day, and that is Blooming Grounds, which you might think doesn't really satisfy the qualifications of being a restaurant, and that's because you don't know how deep their menu goes. Not only do they have great this sounds like an advertisement. That's what it sounds like. That not only do they have great coffee that you could totally drink black, it's nice and fruity, it's got an awesome taste. They also have awesome desserts in their front bakery case. They have paninis that are to die for. The bread is ridiculously good, and their pizzas. I don't like pizza. I don't like pizza. I'll eat pizza from very few places. Blooming Grounds has made the list. So for me, that is huge. I'm happy that I got Blooming Grounds in the 3rd round. And then 1 more. I get 1 more to round out. I have Ocean Sushi, El Patron, and Blooming Grounds. You have Winona Family Restaurant, Mangoes, and Zaza's. I always feel like whenever we do one of these drafts, we forget something that's pretty obvious.
That's
We gotta go deeper.
I have my options.
I mean, I could go Blado's, but that's not a restaurant. It's a bakery. So that'd be kind of pandering to our audience. We'll put this up for a poll. Everybody likes Blado's. So that might be cheating. But I don't really eat anywhere else. The Boathouse was fine, ridiculously overpriced for what you get. The food tasted fine, but I mean, the value isn't there, which is important.
I have 2 options.
I could go McDonald's downtown, the downtown McDonald's. Everybody loves the downtown McDonald's. You know what? You've never been?
No.
You know what? I think I'm going to go McDonald's downtown. Just because it's right there. It's never that busy. They're pretty quick. It's small. And the fries are freshly made. Sometimes you go to McDonald's and you get like soft, gooey fries and they're not good. I've never had that at the downtown Winona or at the downtown McDonald's. I've had it a couple times at the McDonald's near the Sugarloaf. Their shakes are pretty good. Their chicken nuggets are fine.
I wish we were doing 5 rounds. I got 2 more than I need.
Okay, then let's go 5 rounds. I'll give it to you. So you'll get the next 2 picks for sure. But yeah, I have McDonald's downtown. So now you get the next 2 picks. We can go 5 rounds. We can go. That's fine.
Herbs and Gerbs.
Herbs and Gerbs. Never been.
Unbelievable here.
Really?
I don't have many by my hometown.
Herbs and Gerbs.
And then my last one. You may have never been.
What's your favorite thing about Herbs and Gerbs before we go?
The putter.
The putter. What is that?
Peanut butter and jelly.
That's it?
That's all I get.
That seems like a waste of money. You can make that on your own.
I know. It's so good. I had Herbs and Gerbs Saturday and Friday
Okay.
at Gustavus. Now I need to get it here today.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Last one. You may have never had it. Lakeview Drive-In.
Lakeview Drive-In. I've never even heard of it.
Once you go, you're going to fall in love.
Yeah?
Tennis teams went there.
What is it?
It's like burgers, fries,
Burgers?
shakes.
Oh, no
You
way.
sit on the outside.
Is it good? Are they good
It's
burgers?
Right by the river.
Where is it?
Not river.
The lake.
Lake.
Lake Winona. I think I've driven by it. It's on, if you go to Target, if you're going to Target, like on
Maybe
the
it's
lake,
not
right?
on the lake. Yeah, maybe it is. It's so good.
So are the burgers like more McDonald's burgers or are they
No,
nice?
They're nice.
Really?
The fries are nice.
Dude,
The
I need to
shakes are
go with
nice.
that.
It's really
I think I
good.
might do that today. Are they
It's-
open on Sundays?
I hope.
Okay. Someplace that isn't open on Sundays is my last pick, and that's Blado's. Because we're going a little deeper than I could probably go, I'm going to cheat a little. Blado's is not a restaurant, but it's food, and it's in Winona, so I think it counts. It's a great bakery. If you've never been, please go. How often do you go?
Plato's?
Yeah.
Barely.
Really? I go maybe once a month, which is too much for a bakery. Do you know your favorite thing from there? What? Do you not like sweets? What are we doing here?
I don't. I don't really eat donuts that much.
Man, everything is good from Blado's. The cinnamon roll, I had one of them yesterday. Bailey Jones grabbed one for me from Caribou Coffee. That was awesome. Heat that up. Oh gosh, there's not a lot better.
It is on the lake.
Their glazed donuts are phenomenal. Pretty much everything. Their maple bars are great. So there we go. We'll put it up on the poll. I promise I'll do it this time. A running theme of the squeeze this year has been me promising to do things and then not doing them, which is not a very good quality. So I'm going to put it on the poll right after the show because I think I can win this one. Alec, Winona Family Restaurant, Mangoes, Zaza's, Herbs and Gerbs, Lakeview Drive-In. That's well-rounded. I like it. I have Ocean Sushi, El Patron, Blooming Grounds, McDonald's Downtown, and Blado's. I think my weakest link is probably going to be the McDonald's Downtown.
Yeah, that's a very weak one.
You don't have a weak link.
I know I don't.
You don't. Actually,
People that-
Mangoes is your weak link. But Mangoes is very
For
popular.
votes though,
Yeah, it's very
that
popular.
could be the best.
Yeah. So something I heard, this is what Des, you remember last year we did the SMU player draft, the SMU athlete draft? That thing blew up. It had like 3,000 impressions on Twitter, which is a lot. It's 3,000 people saw the tweet. It's not 500,000 like Claire Teresa, which is mind blowing. But they said that they talked about it. They had their own draft and drafts are so fun to do because people actually talk about it. I think this one's going to get some traction because everybody has a favorite restaurant in Winona.
Yeah, we should draft next week. Each get 4 college football teams and do like a little thing
Yeah.
on the final.
With Frankie.
yeah,
Oh, for sure.
I know, it'd
That'd be
be
super
fun.
fun. Look at that little on-air program directing. I like it.
and like if they win the national title, you get 0 points, and you want the least amount of
Oh, and you want the
points.
least amount of points, like where their rank is.
And if they get, or they get 1 point, they get second.
Yeah.
They get 2 points, and you want the least amount of points.
Heck yeah. I like
Get
that
4
idea.
teams.
Where these ideas, man? They just come out of
My
nowhere.
mind is crazy.
I love them. Your mind is beautiful. Beautiful mind. You and Russell Crowe.
Sad.
Oh, wait, was it even Russell Crowe? Gosh, it is. Well, now I gotta look it up. Beautiful Mind. Have you not seen A Beautiful Mind? Beautiful Mind. Really? It's a great movie.
You see a lot of
Beautiful
see a lot
Mind
of
cast.
stuff and do a lot of stuff that I don't do.
Yeah, Russell Crowe. Thank you. I actually watched that in health class in Fenwick High School. Great education. Watched
I
Beautiful
watch
Mind.
a lot of. Wait,
What?
I did watch.
You
that.
have seen this movie. It's remember with the baby with the bathwater? There's
I don't remember any part of it. But
okay, but you've seen it.
Wait,
What?
I don't think I have.
Okay, never mind. It's a great movie. You should watch it.
Beautiful.
It's on YouTube, I believe so. Next time I put it in, I'll be sure to call you over.
What is it about?
It's about John Nash, I think is his name.
Yes.
Yes,
I
John
have
Nash,
seen that
he's-
for sure.
He's a genius, but he also has schizophrenic, paranoia.
Schizophrenia. Yeah, I've seen this.
and he thinks that he's this crazy spy guy, and he
Have
isn't.
you seen the one where it's the little girl and the monkey outbreak?
No,
It's good.
I haven't seen that movie.
It's a good one.
Okay, we have very different movie tastes, very different music tastes.
You don't even know what this is about.
Very different tastes and everything. We'll be right back on the squeeze. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Oh, I'm going to make a public apology. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to make a public apology. That's probably, it's not, there's no use in it. There's no point in making the public apology because the guy doesn't really care. Actually, during the break, I'm going to post this on Twitter so that we can see the early results. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to The Squeeze. That was a great segment.
You're listening to The Squeeze. We're about to wrap it up here on September 9th. No, September 29th of 2019. My mind's all over the place. Don't forget to catch me on the unnamed radio show that I'm pretty sure we're just going to call the Anthony Vescoisi Show. I don't know what the name is, but don't be sure to catch it from 1 to 3 next Saturday on KWNO, 12:30 in Winona. There's also an online stream. I'll be posting that from my personal Twitter account, maybe retweeting it on the Squeeze. So be sure to look out for that. Also, join us next week, 11 to 12. It sounds like we're going to have John Luke Nahorsky on for sure, Eli Szymanski on maybe, and hopefully we can get a few women soccer players as well. But before we can continue with anything else, this is the most urgent matter. It's been on my mind for a really long time. Now, Eli Morrison and I have a long and storied history in my mind. In his mind, he probably never thinks about me. But I was an intramural football ref for 2 years, and he was on an intramural football team. And he got very frustrated with me very often. And that's okay. He's a fiery guy. He's a competitor. He's an athlete. I understand it. And I'm kind of an idiot sometimes, and I make mistakes. And he let me know. So we already weren't on great ground, I think, personally. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I don't know. So I then continue to live my life. And maybe 6 months after we play football, I start tweeting about the baseball team, which is something I really enjoy doing. I do it all the time. I do research tweets is what I call them. I go through the St. Mary's statistics pages, the annals of history, and I look up things on St. Mary's sports. I do it with basketball. I do it with baseball. I do it with the sports that I understand and that have good statistics. Like soccer doesn't really have good statistics. It's just goals, shots, and saves. Yeah. So I looked at the SMU record books, and I wanted to see how many of the athletes on last year's team are in the SMU record books. And turns out there were quite a few. Will Matthews makes it on there a couple times. Matthew Piowski, James Green is ridiculous, and he's in there a lot. And I did negative and positive statistics just because I wasn't trying to make anyone feel bad or make anyone feel great. I did it twice. I did 2 negative statistics. One was the 4th most errors in the history of SMU baseball. Will Matthews with 39. He's a junior, so he'll continue to play this year. Hopefully he won't make any more errors or else he will be climbing that list. And then the 8th most losses of all time, 12, Eli Morrison. Eli Morrison, who, again, you have to look at it from my perspective, who I think hates me, tweets in response to my tweet. He doesn't follow me, so I don't know how he saw it. He tweets only 8th, ... I'm better than I thought, which is funny. It's a good quip. He got 41 likes. Everyone loved it. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought it was funny. But I want to publicly apologize. If I offended him in any way, shape, or form, I'm sorry. And I didn't mean it. I guess I didn't mean it to single you out. And if you felt singled out, I apologize for that. I will continue to do positive and negative statistics, and we will continue to talk positively and negatively about people on SMU Sports. That's just how it works. If good things happen, good things happen. If bad things happen, bad things happen. You have to talk about them both. But I want to apologize. Hopefully, if I see him in person, I'll apologize to him personally. And it's been bugging me a little bit. Every time I see him, we don't make eye contact. We don't say hi. I'm a pretty friendly person. I don't like when people don't like me that much. So I just public apology. I'll make it a private apology soon. Eli Morrison, we're all good. So there we go. Had to get that off my chest. It's been bugging me for a little bit. He's a 5th-year senior this year. He's a kind of like a assistant coach, maybe a stipend coach on the baseball team. So we do see him around. He was in our sports marketing class last year. Mm-hmm. He was for Windcraft. I was talking to Mayo. They're going to start offering that class in the fall next year, and they're going to continue doing the Wind Bowl thing, which was a lot of fun. For those of you who don't know, whiteboard it. Windcraft is a huge sports merchandising company in Winona, Minnesota. I mean, in the world, they're a huge company, but they're based out of Winona, Minnesota. Windcraft, half of that is win, half of that is craftsmanship. Winona craftsmanship. I mean, it's a good name. And we got to work with them for an entire semester. We got to meet with the bigwigs over there, and we got to give a presentation for the bigwigs over there. And it was a lot of fun. And they used some of our ideas in their own presentations. And it kind of felt like we were working for a big time corporation. Just another opportunity that you get here at St. Mary's in the sports marketing class, in the sports management program. So great thing. I know you enjoyed yourself. I enjoyed myself. I think my team came in second, which if you're not first, you're last, but still it felt good to come in second place. I thought for sure walking out of that building that my team won,
but it's whatever.
I didn't think we would win.
Who was in your group?
Frankie, John Heim,
Frankie Bacalarz, John
and
Heim,
Rugo.
and Rugo from Japan.
I don't know.
Okay. I think he's from Japan. And then I had Sammy Bakey. I had Jacob Bailey, who put in a lot of work this summer. I hope we get to talk to him during the basketball season. And then who was my third? Oh, Joey Costello. So I had a very well-rounded team. This has been The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquesi and Alec Rude. I'm very happy that he was back because, like I said, that what we just did right there was setting down the landing gear. There was a little bit of turbulence when you didn't fill in for me losing the word momentum in my brain.
I don't know what you're trying to get.
The momentum stalled, and that was turbulence. So it's okay. We're fine. But we landed it. I think we had a pretty good show. I'm going to post it on Twitter. I did post it on Twitter and then deleted it. So it's in my head. I'm going to do it right now. Be sure to vote. Dad, I know you like Winona Family Restaurant, but those other restaurants are pretty good. You've been to Blooming Grounds, you've been to El Patron, and you've enjoyed it both. So I just give me a shot. Okay, Dad? I would like your vote. Anything in the comments?
No.
Winona Family, put a friendly wager on the game. I hope it's not buffering. It looks like it's buffering. Okay, we'll be back next Sunday from 11 to 12 here on YouTube. If you haven't hit that subscribe button already, please do so. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. Go Bears.